Hello, a very good morning to all of you. Welcome to yet another Zoom call organized by Jungle Bells. Jungle Bells is an exclusive women's wildlife group. We are into wildlife related activities, conservation, and wildlife tours. Before we begin, I would like to request all of you to turn your cameras off and switch off your microphones, please. If you have any questions for the guest, please type them in the chat box and we will address them after his talk. Also, if you want to receive further communication from us about our events, please type in your email addresses and phone numbers in the chat box. I will now hand it over to Aarti for a brief introduction about our guest of today's speaker. Yeah, over to you.
Hello, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. A little bit about our guest of today, Mr. Asheem Srivastav. Asheem sir joined the Indian Forest Services in 1982, and he served the government of Gujarat and government of India for 36 years before retiring in 2018. He has a wide-ranging experience of managing many forest and protected areas, including Gir National Park and Sanctuary, Little Run of Kutch, and Belvedere National Park. World Bank project on India eco-development and community forestry. He was instrumental in preparing the World Bank project on integrated coastal zone management project for the states of Gujarat, West Bengal, and Orissa. As a senior representative of Government of India, his ambassadorial role in World Heritage Site, Convention on Biological Diversity, IUCN, World Parks Congress, World Conservation Congress, and other global forums significantly helped furthering the cause of environmental conservation and sustainable development. Besides his knowledge of international environmental instruments and national environmental laws and policies facilitated international negotiations with the governments of US, UK, Russia, China, Australia, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Vietnam, Uzbekistan, and other nations, and helped significantly in giving impetus to conservation research, species protection, capacity building, and improved communication. His international assignment with IUCN and Traffic International provided an opportunity to work in many Southeast Asian and South Asian countries in conducting impact assessments, coastal protection, ecological restoration, biodiversity conservation, and establishment of South Asia Wildlife Enforcement Network. He has also published more than 25 research papers and books titled Asiatic Lion on the Brink, Ecological Meltdown, Impact of Unchecked Human Growth on Earth's Natural Systems, The Science and Impact of Climate Change, and Energy Dynamics and Climate Mitigation, an Indian Perspective. We are really honored to have such an esteemed speaker with us today. And today he's going to talk about the wildlife in Gujarat, just give us an overview about the different sanctuaries there and the wildlife that we can see in Gujarat. So I'll hand over to Asheem sir. So you can take over.
Okay, thank you very much, Aarti, and good morning, everyone. Shall we start with the presentation straight away?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Please tell me if anyone has been to Gujarat and seen the wildlife in Gujarat.
Viewers, you can unmute yourself and
anybody who has been to Gujarat.
So we haven't been. Hemangi and I haven't yet been to Gujarat. So
okay, and others?
Any of the other participants?
Never mind. Gujarat, for your information, Gujarat including Rajasthan, the desert part of Rajasthan. These are the two places in the country which I believe, to the best of my knowledge, these are the paradise for birds. And one of the reasons is that people here don't harass the birds, especially the migratory birds, and most of them are non-vegetarian. So the cases of poaching and eating of bird meat and trade of bird is minimal. There have been stray instances, and there will be in future also. But the as it stands today, because of the water bodies which were present historically in this area, plus the water from Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Cambay that comes into Saurashtra and Kutch region during monsoon, birds tend to get a lot of food in fish and prawns. So that's the reason why the this whole area is so well known for migratory birds as well as the local migrants. Uh, this is to give you an overview of the national parks and sanctuaries in Gujarat. I'm sure from the previous presentation which I made, you will be clear on the two terms, the national parks and sanctuaries. So here, if you are entering from Surat side, you can see here Daman and Diu and then Valsad. If you keep moving along this highway, this pinkish thick line, then the first one is the Vasta National Park, which is in Dang's area. It's a small national park.
So,
Dumkal is,
Asheem sir, we are
yes,
unable to see the presentation.
you're unable to see the presentation.
No, sir. Can you just, yeah, can you share it?
I'm sharing it with you.
So you will have to stop share and do a reshare. Yes, sir. Now,
Is it visible now?
yes, not the presentation yet. You can just, yes,
Now
sir. Yes, sir.
it's
And you
okay.
can, yes, it is perfectly fine. You can put it on
Okay.
the slide show.
Okay. It's fine now.
Some more,
Sorry.
yeah.
Is it okay now? Can you see
Full,
that?
yes, sir. Can you put it on? Is it on full screen now?
This is on full screen. Yes.
Perfect, sir. Perfect. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
So is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir. It is. You can see.
Okay, good. Sorry for the goof up.
No,
It's
no
from my
problem,
side.
sir. No problem, sir.
Okay. So this is the map of Gujarat, and let me give you some idea. You can see the boundary of Maharashtra. This is the political boundary of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, and Rajasthan, and Gujarat's border, the Indian border with Pakistan. And here you have the Gulf of Kutch and the Gulf of Cambay or Gulf of Khambat. Now, if you are entering from this side, you will have the first national park on your right in the Dang's area, Dang's forest area, which is very close to Nasik. If you're coming from Nasik, Dang is the first area which you will enter. And then to Dumkal. Dumkal is actually on the other side. It is in the Narmada district now, and it's very close to Narmada Dam. And then Ratan Mahal, uh, then Jessore, Sloth Bear Sanctuary, Wildlife Sanctuary. These are the major national parks and sanctuaries which have been depicted in this map. Now, as you may be aware that the state has 4 national parks and 23 sanctuaries, 1 conservation reserve. And besides that, the Saurashtra region, as I said earlier, sorry, the Saurashtra region is very well known for its grassland historically also. The whole Kutch desert was extending up to Karachi, and it was known for its grassland. And people were, in fact, rearing cattle and exporting milk and ghee to the other countries from this area. And this was the main occupation of these people historically. Now, the biggest national park in the state of Gujarat is the Gir National Park, and Gir is also having a sanctuary. So Gir is a national park and Gir is a sanctuary. So in general, what we say is Gir protected area in common parlance. We refer to Gir as Gir protected area because it has one national park, which is the core of the sanctuary area. Then Velavadar, Kutch, and Vasta. These are the 4 national parks in the state. and 23 sanctuaries. Now, as you can see, the largest is the Kutch Desert Sanctuary here. Kutch, has an area of 40,000 square plus kilometers, out of which around 12,000 square kilometers form part of Kutch Sanctuary. And there is a Great Run of Kutch Sanctuary and Little Run of Kutch. The wildlife sanctuary is also part of Kutch. So 4,953 and 7,506. These two constitute the largest sanctuaries in the state of Gujarat. The rest, all of them, all 21 of them are small. Now, for your understanding, and if you are planning to visit these sanctuaries and see some of the bird life and animal life in Gujarat, I have prepared a small route which will be convenient to anyone who is coming from Maharashtra side or from south side. If you land at Ahmedabad, or you can take a bus from there, from Pune or Mumbai, and but if you are starting from Ahmedabad, the first beautiful place to visit is Nal Sarovar. It's a water body that contains water from uh, Gulf of Cambay or Gulf of Khambat, plus some rainwater also. From there, you can go to Velavadar, from Velavadar to Gir National Park and Sanctuary, and then to Girnar, or either Girnar first or Gir thereafter, it depends. Girnar is right in the heart of Junagadh city. From there, you can go to Somnath Temple to Diu, Union Territory, and then Porbandar Bird Sanctuary, which is again, Porbandar Bird Sanctuary is a very small area of some 8 plus hectares, 8 point something hectares, but it's a beautiful water body, and all the year round you can see lot many birds over there, and many of them breed in the sanctuary area. From Porbandar to Dwarka in Jamnagar, from Dwarka to towards Jamnagar, and you can see Marine National Park. Then to Great Run of Kutch, uh, Dholavira, Harappan site. I mean, I have also included other areas like Dholavira. To me, Dholavira is something very important, and all of you must visit, because this is a site that tells you about so much about the Harappan civilization. And then on your return to Ahmedabad, you can visit Little Run of Kutch, come back and back to your place. The whole trip may take you around 15 days, but it's worth every moment that you will spend here. So now let's begin with the first stop, which is Nal Sarovar Bird Sanctuary. As you can see, it is very close to Ahmedabad, and you can reach there in less than 2 hours time. It's around 120 to 170. It depends on the water expense, but the legal area of the sanctuary is 120 square kilometers. But the water the water level keeps on changing depending on the rainfall. So this is the place where you will find migratory birds, the water birds, in thousands and thousands, and the best period to visit this is between October and February. Just after the monsoon, these birds start coming. You can see flamingos, lapwings. More than 70,000 visitors are there every year. And as I said, the bird census of 2018 says that there were 1,43,000 birds that visited during between October and February. From there, you can go to the second stop, that is Blackbuck National Park. It's from Ahmedabad. That is around 2-3 hours, and this is the Google map of Velavadar National Park. It's a very small area of 34 square kilometers. This one, which I'm pointing out here, but the area, complete area, is full of grasslands and crops. So these animals, they keep moving, and the birds also keep moving in and out of the national park all the time. And you can see, I mean, even if you don't go to the national park area, you can sight birds and animals in the surrounding areas as well. This is the photograph from the Velavada National Park. The black buck population has increased, and there are more than 7,000 black bucks here. It's also known in Gujarati and probably Marathi also, it is called Krishan Mrug. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
No?
Yes, sir. In
It,
Marathi.
it is it called Krishan Mrug?
Yes, sir. In Marathi, it's called Krishna.
Yeah. In Gujarati also, this is known as Krishan Mrug. And one of the beautiful birds that I have seen, the bird of prey, is the harrier that comes from Central Asia region every year. And because I keep going to this Velavada National Park, this is my favorite haunt. And I have seen the birds in thousands when they sky at the time of sunset, when the pre-roosting begins. The sky was all dark. It was almost as if sun has set. There were so many birds in those days. But farming activities around the national park areas has, and the use of pesticides and other things, has reduced the number of birds which are coming. The second thing is, nowadays the harriers which come here, they fan out all over uh, the area, including the run of Kutch also. Maybe that they are finding good prey, but this is you must visit during October, November, or the best time is December, to see the harriers and their roosting. These are the pictures of the grassland. It's a beautiful grassland, though it's small, but beautiful grassland. You can see jungle cat here, wolf. And this is the recent picture that I took last year of pre-roosting. You can see some birds flying, and as it gets dark, they start settling down. Here you can see only some seven, how many? Four, eight birds, and I have seen them in hundreds. I can never forget that sight.
Wow.
You see, this is how they start their pre-roost, and sorry, and the best part is this is the evening. This thing when they start roosting, they come from all other areas, then settle down. All of a sudden, there will be pin drop silence. So, till the time they are in the air, you can see them. Otherwise, once they are settled, they don't make any noise, they don't make any movement at all, and it's very difficult to sight them afterwards. Morning during winters, they start taking off somewhere after sunset when it gets slightly warm, and then go and perch on the tree for some time before taking off. So morning and evening sights are the most beautiful sights that at least I have seen. I mean, this is one of my favorites, and I go there every year to see this phenomena. The second bird is I don't know how many of you have seen this bird, lesser florican.
No,
This,
sir.
No, sir.
huh?
We've
Anyone?
not seen
Anyone?
it.
Has anyone seen that?
No,
As in,
sir.
if
No. No?
no.
Okay. This is the male. The black and white one is the male, and these are the two females. Actually, we have started rearing them also. Uh, Historically, sometimes in the first half of 20th century and before that, the lesser florican was available aplenty all over the state, and they are local migrants. They're coming from South India, from Madhya Pradesh and other places. But over the years, their population, because of habitat destruction, their population has also gone down.
Sir?
Um, Yes, please.
Sir, what's the use of them?
What's the
Sir, what's the use of them?
what's the use of them?
Yes.
They are the creature. They are the creation of God, and they are part of the habitat. In what way do you want to know the use?
I got it.
Hello.
Sir, I wanted to know, like, there is use of other birds. What's the use of this bird?
Okay, tell me what is the use of other birds?
Like, hen is used for eggs.
Yeah,
So
that's
what
right.
the what does this do?
Okay, okay, I'll tell you. You appear to be very young kid. Am I right?
So I think she's a student. Prisha, you want to
Ah,
tell?
I'm a
okay,
student.
you're a student. That's good. It's a good question. Hen is a domesticated bird, and we are consuming its egg, um, and it is also known as poultry. You can consume the eggs of these birds, and maybe in early days, people must have been consuming the eggs if they find it useful. But that's the consumption part of the bird. But in the nature, these birds are responsible for controlling the population of insects. Right? They eat insects, they eat grasses, they eat grains and other things from nature, and then these birds are also eaten by other big animals. So they are part of the food chain. So they are eating some insects, or they are eating some grains and other things, but in turn they are also providing food to bigger birds and bigger animals. And that's the role of most of the birds primarily, besides some other roles. For example, if you must have seen crow in your everyday life. Crow is our best friend. We don't realize it, but crow is responsible for consuming all dead animals and so many other things which we throw. If the crows disappear from our city centers and from our villages, these the meat and other garbage that you are throwing will not be consumed by any other bird. Similarly, vultures, so they have some specialized role. Their body has got special mechanism for this purpose. Whereas the bird that you are seeing, the lesser florican that you are seeing on the screen, has another function, which is to control the normal population of insects which are available in the area. Does that make any sense to you?
Got it, sir. No.
Okay. Sorry.
Got it, sir.
Okay. Good. But why I am showing you this picture? This picture is taken while the male is in flight. This is the nuptial dance of the male. Every now and then, the female is extremely, extremely shy, just like even more than the female of quail. But this bird, the female of this bird is it's very difficult to sight the female. Their number is also few, and extremely difficult to sight them. The male goes for a nuptial dance, and in that it jumps uh, on a regular interval of, say, every 5 minutes or every 7 minutes from the grasses, and then that's how we come to know about the bird, and makes a typical sound. Trrr, just like that. And earlier we used to think that the sound comes from their mouth, but it doesn't. We took the videograph in 1989. We did the videography of this, and found out that they are making sounds with the help of their feathers. I don't know how does it make, but it's a very typical sound of 6 or 7 times flap, and jumps around 7 to 8 feet high, and then again come down, then lie low in the grass for some time, And again, probably for this nuptial dance is meant for the females during the breeding season. The unfortunate part is we have not tracked the local migratory route of this bird. We do not know what has happened to the staging grounds of this bird's migratory route. Their number is gradually on the decline. This is a picture of sunset with pre-roosting in Velavadar itself. From Velavadar, you can move to Gir National Park and Sanctuary. The light green portion is the national park area, and the dark green is the sanctuary area. So the national park forms the core of the key protected area. Plus, you have another small Pania Wildlife Sanctuary, which forms an extension of Gir National Park and Sanctuary. And surrounding the Gir National Park and Sanctuary, there are many beautiful grasslands. And the yellow thick line that you see, these are all roads which are crisscrossing through even through the national park also. This is one of the dams, and this picture was taken during peak summer month.
Sir, 1 minute, I would just like to interrupt. Vikram Singh Parihar sir has joined the webinar, and we really welcome him to our platform.
Okay,
welcome, sir.
Good, welcome. Can you be a bit louder?
Sir, Vikram Singh Parihar has joined our webinar, and we welcome him to our platform.
Okay, good. Thank you. So this is the landscape of Gir National Park. This is during the dry season, and how the population of lion has increased over the years. From 1974, this was the population range of Asiatic lion. This is Gir. This is Girnar. Girnar is in the, as I said, in the city of Junagadh. It's very close to the city of Junagadh. And historically, let me also tell you, for people who are having religious bent of mind, this is one of the places which is known in Indian mythology as a very, very significant place. I do not know why, but I have read it in many books of Indian culture and Indian religion. They have mentioned about this special significance of Girnar after Himalayas. They may be knowing more about it because I haven't gone deep into it ever. But there is a lot of significance which is attached to the Girnar Hills. It's a small area of 200 square kilometers. And nowadays there is a ropeway that connects Junagadh city. From city you can go to the top of the Girnar Hill. And then come back, because otherwise you have to climb some 5,000 stairs. From 1974 to 1995, the blue line roughly represents the area which Asiatic lion started occupying gradually as its population increased. And from 1995, if you see, the whole southern part is now the habitat of lion. There are various pockets like Girnar is a Mitiala, Mahua, this is Bhavnagar district, and Gir, and then the coastal area of Veraval and Una also. The lions keep moving in and out of the national park area. Yes,
sir,
please. Yes.
Sir, are there villages near this area?
Oh yes, there are many villages surrounding, and there are villages. There are around 54 small villages within the sanctuary area also.
Sir, but then the lions would enter the village and it can destroy the villagers' livelihood.
Oh yeah, yes. That's a very good question. This whole area in 1885. I wish you had called me up earlier. I would have shown you the map of 1885. In 1885, because I have the map and therefore I can say with certainty, the area of Gir, the Gir forest, because at that time there was no sanctuary or national park. There was no concept of sanctuary and national park, and therefore the forest area in 1885 was 5,000 square miles, say roughly 8,000 square kilometers, which means the whole area, this area was full of forest, and lions were moving in this area. There were other animals also. The villages started coming up gradually. They started invading into the forest area, clearing the forest, and the present area is confined to a small patch of 1600 square kilometers. So actually, if you look into the history, the truth is that we as humans have invaded the into the livelihood and the home of the lions and other animals for our own security and benefits. And now, because the lion got protection, their population increased. They have started moving out of Gir area and into the villages also. Yes, there are many cases. There are many cases which occur, and frequently when the lion venture into the human habitation. There have been cases where lion have entered into Junagadh also. They have done damage to cattle population, which they do regularly, in fact. But so far, there has not been a killing of man or case of man eating. Leopards have been eating man, and there are so many cases of leopards taking away children and the adults. But lion normally does not uh, attack human beings for the purpose of eating his meat. They may pose a threat. Yes. Hello. Yeah. Is there any question?
No, sir, it's cleared now.
Okay. So my point is that it is their habitat, and human beings are there. The beauty of this area is that Maldharis who stay inside, and they have their cattle, they have buffaloes and cows. They stay inside and they live harmoniously with lion. They know lion very well. They don't disturb them. They don't come in their way. They don't harass the animal, and animals also don't harass them. They do kill their cattle for their food, and Maldaris also take it for granted. They say that it's a part of the it's an act of God, and it's an act of nature. The animal wants. They don't kill for wasting the meat. Whenever lion kills, they kill for eating the meat, and they don't have the tendency to store. Like they will not go. It's something rare that they will go and kill 5 or 10 buffaloes and then leave all of them to rot. No, that normally doesn't happen. So it's one of the better places in terms of man-wildlife conflict. Okay, this is show you other animals in Gir. Now here in this picture, for this young friend of mine, you see there are so many lions, and they have killed one deer. Can you see this picture?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Sometimes people tend to think, and you must have also seen or received this feedback, that we have been to Gir, and the lions are just like dogs, or they are so docile in nature. It's a very actually it's very docile animal. Look at the eyes of lion and look at the eyes of leopard. um, Compare these two pictures. The amber eyes of lion tells you so many things. and they are probably a family animal, but with huge strength. You cannot imagine. See, the one paw of lion, if it hits you, the force, the impact of that will be around 250 pounds. So you can imagine, you can't withstand even one slap from lion's paw. It's very sure of its strength, and possibly sometimes people feel that this is a very docile animal. It's as good as a dog or any other animal. Whereas normally we fear leopard. Leopard is a very shrewd animal, a very cunning animal. I think you must have realized that if you visit and if you read the stories of leopard and lion and tiger, they behaviorally all these three species and even all cat species are different in nature. Okay, so from there, as I said, you can take this route. Um, where are we? Junagadh, right? Can you see here? From
Yes, sir.
Junagadh,
Yes, sir.
you can go to the coastal area and Diu, and from Diu you can come to Veraval. Diu is a small, is beach side basically, and between Junagadh and Diu, and between Gir is somewhere here, and you can see lot many lions if you are lucky. And from there you can move along the coastal highway to Veraval. From Veraval to Porbandar, the city of Mahatma Gandhi's birth, and you can visit the sanctuary and as well as his birthplace. There's a small house where he was born, a small room, and a very quite decent city. From there you can come over to Dwarka. Dwarka, as you know, famous for the Dwarkadish temple, and spend your night. Then go to Marine National Park. Marine National Park is en route to Jamnagar. From Dwarka to Jamnagar, you can visit Marine National Park also. Now, Marine National Park is a beauty unto itself. You know, the best part of Marine National Park is the water comes with uh, tide, and when the water recedes, you can walk into the national park area and see the marine animals in action. So that's something which is a unique experience. You can walking on corals and seeing the animals in live. This is the octopus. This is one of the staff is trying to demonstrate um, how the power of octopus, the way it creates the vacuum and sticks to the substratum.
Sir, but
These are
why
the,
would, sir,
yes.
but why would the octopus come out from the coral?
No, it doesn't come out. It's only for demonstration purpose that the person here is trying to show to the tourist as to how does the animal world function. Different animals have got different mechanism of surviving and feeding and mobility. So octopus has, and this is a very small octopus. There are big octopus you can see on Discovery Channel or National Geographic Channel. There are octopus which are bigger in size than adult human beings, and they can devour one human being also. So this is a small one, but they have the octopus moves with the help of small vacuum. What should I say? Inverted inverted paws, and then it moves with the help by creating the vacuum. It sticks to the substratum and then keeps moving. Right?
Okay, sir.
This is coral. And incidentally, let me also tell you that coral, because it is made up of calcium carbonate, they provide the best raw material for the cement industry. And there used to be um, a cement factory in Jamnagar in 70s and 80s known as Sikka Cement Factory. I think if you Google it, probably you will find the court case against Sikka Cement Factory, which was filed by youngsters like you all, and they were dredging corals, extracting calcium carbonate. This is the purest form of calcium carbonate, which was being extracted and converted into cement. So the case went on for several years, and eventually the factory was asked to shut down its operation, and that's how the dredging of coral stopped. So whatever is now left is under the control of Marine National Park. Sea urchins. This is the landscape, and the water recedes. These are all dead corals. Yes, pufferfish, my favorite. Pufferfish. This is the fish when it puffs. It just to ward off the enemy or potential threat, and the mouth and the jaws of this fish is so strong. If you put your finger inside the mouth of this fish, it will chop it off in no time. You won't even realize when the finger was gone. But it's a very nice fish, very cute looking. Okay, from there, from Marine National Park, we go to the Run of Kutch. Now, on your screen, you will find two blue spots. The upper one in the north and the lower one in the south. The lower one is known as Little Run of Kutch, and the upper one is called Great Run of Kutch. And this whole area, actually, this is the boundary of Kutch district. And this area is around 40,000 square kilometers. It was sea and the water receded, and this is how Kutch has come into existence. This is another picture of Kutch, just to give you an idea. This is the water body within the Great Run of Kutch, and here you will find the Kutch extends into Pakistan and into Rajasthan desert. So the whole area was so extensive, and if you imagine yourself going into say 18th or maybe 18, 19 till 19th century, things were much better. This is this portion which is now in Pakistan, and this is Hyderabad in Pakistan. You can see the green belt. This is the Indus River basin. Pakistan has also constructed so many dams on Indus River, and because of the construction of dam, this area has now been damaged beyond repairs. I would think that this area, this complete area, would form one of the most beautiful tourist circuit. From here, if you can trek, and people used to do that earlier, if you can trek over here, you can enter into Afghanistan and other places, and even in the desert, then you can go up the mountains and then enter into Kashmir and other places. So it's a beautiful landscape, and every season is different. In monsoon, it turns into small sea where you can also wade. I have done that. You can also wade through the water. It's not more than neck deep area, and but after sunset, it's very scary, and we got trapped. Um, I also mentioned early in the presentation about Dholavira, the Harappan site, uh, and that's why it is called, because it is in the Indus River basin area. It is called as Indus Valley Civilization. And here is your Marine National Park. Here is your Run of Kutch Lake. This is a huge water body, but it's salt water. the brine content of this water is very high. So when the rainwater comes, with rain water adding to this water, plus some water entering into the land from the Gulf of Kutch and from primarily from Gulf of Kutch, this provides an ambient condition for the growth of prawns. And a lot many, I mean, several thousand families today, they rely on prawn, which is exported, which is quite expensive because it's the prawn gets reared. The seeding place is somewhere here in the Gulf, but the rearing or the growth happens in the desert of Kutch when it is full of water, and that's why the birds come in and they get fish as well as prawns. But prawns are caught, they are exported, and they fetch millions and millions of dollars. Yeah, this is the Kutch Biosphere Reserve. Biosphere Reserve is another term. In fact, I wanted you to introduce to this term. Biosphere is not a legal term in Indian context, nor is it in global context. It's a term that has been coined by UNESCO. UNESCO started one man and biosphere program in 60s, and the whole idea was that the man should be able to live in harmony with nature and with natural animals and plants. So they said it's a biosphere concept where the human being will adapt itself to the wilderness conditions. So Kutch is one of the biosphere reserves in the country. Okay, this is the landscape of Kutch during, and this is on top. You can see the desert fox and some sweda grass. Most of the animals in Kutch, the wild ass and other animals, they survive on this grass during the peak summer season when the temperature goes as high as 50 degrees Celsius. Wild ass, the most prominent species in this area. Again, there are only two species. One is the wild ass in the plains, which is confined, which is a single isolated population in the desert of Kutch. And the other is the cousin of wild ass, which is known as Kiang. If you go to Leh, Ladakh area, you will see another cousin of wild ass, and it is known as Kiang. And both these populations are getting isolated. Kiang is still, I mean, they extend up to Tibet and other areas in China. But wild ass is now getting restricted to Kutch. This is short-eared owl. Again, this is a migratory bird. Great Indian bustard. You must have heard of it. In fact, Maharashtra, there was one sanctuary, uh, Ahmednagar. It was known for its bustard population, and it was one of the largest sanctuaries. And the city of Ahmednagar constituted part of that sanctuary. Now that area has been excluded and it's now pretty small. I do not know really what is the status of bustard in that area. Bustard has been hunted and persecuted for its meat, and the population is now getting confined to Rajasthan. Most of the bustard population is surviving in Rajasthan, and one of the reason is that, I mean, people, they revere this bird, and their habitat is being protected. It's very shy animal. This is my favorite picture. This picture was taken with analog camera. Um, it was in Little Run of Kutch, and after several years, several decades, in fact, first time the flamingos, they started preparing nest, and it had rained heavily, and we had to travel some 60 kilometers on tractor, uh, because there was no way which for a jeep to take you inside. So we sat on the tractor covering our mouth and everything with cameras and all. I had two cameras. One was the movie camera, the other was still camera. And in order to save the camera, I had to cover them with my clothes and all, whatever I had. So by the time we reached on the site, my mouth, ear, nose, everything was covered with mud. And there was, I mean, I had nothing to clean even my face. But the moment I got down, this, in fact, I have some more pictures of this chick. This chick had just hatched, and it was trying to roll down this mound. You know, the flamingos, they make a mound on the in the run area, or wherever their nesting site is, and this is surrounded by water. And the chicks, they roll down once they hatch from the egg. They just roll down and immediately go and mingle with the whole group, and they start rolling. I don't know, it's a very specific feature which I noticed there. But it was a treat to see. I mean, it was worth millions of dollars site. And that's why, I mean, I use this picture to convey this message of conservation. This was probably the best sight I could ever see in my life so far.
It's fascinating.
Okay. Then this um, another important part of one is the technology. On top, you can see the windmills, and below that is the picture of salt making in Run of Kutch. As I mentioned, the run area, the salt content or the brine content is very high vis-a-vis the seawater. So the salt workers and the salt factories, they are spread all over the run area, and they are using. You dig some 3-4 feet deep, and you will find water. You can't drink it. I mean, it's impossible. Uh, but they extract and they dry it and make salt out of it. This is all industrial salt. Whatever uh, uh, the salt is basically used for making um, soda ash for your soap and or for other industrial purposes. But most of the soap powders that we get, surf and other things, is coming out from this salt only. And you can imagine the amount of profit people are making from the salt industry. But it is doing a lot of damage to the migratory birds and the local animals and birds population, because their habitat is getting fragmented. There's a lot of disturbance inside Little Run of Kutch and Great Run of Kutch both. You see how people make at the cost of their life, they burn their feet, the whole skin of their feet up till their knees gets burnt over a period. But yes, in terms of its beauty, as I mentioned, that this is a place. There are two places which I can say with certainty, and I've been there. I've been a frequent visitor. If you go to these places, you will always come back a different human being. I do not know why. There is no explanation I can give you. I've been a student of science, but there are confusing things that happen in your life. I have been to Himalaya several times on trek, and whenever you come back, you are a different man. It's difficult to explain to a person, but and similarly, if you go to Run of Kutch and if you trek, don't go and intermingle and go in the city. Just go around the desolate areas. You will come back a different person. This is a white Run of Kutch, which was in fact it was started by our uh, Prime Minister when he was Chief Minister here. He started tourism in this area, and this is all salt crust, which forms, the water dries out and there's a salt encrustation. You can walk over it. At times it becomes treacherous. Your feet can go inside. In fact, vehicles go inside and it's very difficult to them retrieve those vehicles. So eventually they go in and they are covered with sand and salt. So this picture was taken on 27th December. I took this picture, and this was full moon night. So I had tweaked this picture a little bit, but this was a beautiful sight on a moonlit night, as if we were standing somewhere in the North Pole or South Pole. And this is how tourism. This is again same site, but after several years when I went there. How it has changed. People are bringing in their cars and then throwing away the bottles and empty packets, food packets, and the best is your tobacco, uh, because people are very fond of eating tobacco and then spitting everywhere. So you can see several spots of red on this white incrustation. Painted stalks in the lake. I showed you the lake of Kutch, and these were the painted stalks. And at times, this area is full of birds. Thousands and thousands of flamingos coming here, and in fact, staying if not breeding. Their breeding area normally is far away from human habitation, and we don't come across it. These are some of the ecotourism huts which have been created for people. You can go there, stay there for a night or so, enjoy the wilderness of the run in itself. So that's all from my side, and I hope you got some message about the wildlife. Not all. This is the time after the monsoon. Probably you will see lot many demosil cranes. They start coming in during September, October, and you will find them in villages and in ponds and in grasslands. So you just travel across Saurashtra and Kutch area, you will come across some species of the bird or the other. In these cities, these after monsoon, um, even rosy pastor, they also come from Central Asia. Rosy pastors, they come to the cities in big number, and their flight dance is a treat to watch. So this much from my side. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to respond.
In the audience, anyone has questions for sir?
Any more information if you want, which I did not cover?
Sir, you can stop the share for the presentation so we can see you.
Okay. Is it fine now?
So we can't still see you. You can on the video.
You can't see?
No, sir. We can see only your name. Yes, sir. I can
Yeah.
see you now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir,
So this is Jitendra. I just wanted to ask you a small question. What is the difference between a national park sanctuary and a conservation reserve?
Okay, I mentioned it in my last slide. If you, I think you can share my presentation
yes.
with him. But for your understanding, you see, the difference between national park and sanctuary is that national park has got greater degree of protection, and in this sense, again, when I say greater degree of protection, that protection in the sense of human habitation. In national park, whenever any area is declared as national park, the all rights of any individual or any family or any village um, uh, person, they are finally settled. I mean, in national park there is no right. legally speaking, you cannot stay in a national park. You cannot have any right for even collecting grass or anything. You cannot remove anything from national park. Okay. Whereas in sanctuary, you can have your right. So that's the difference in terms of giving protection. The whole idea of having a national park was to have a preservation area. Do you appreciate the difference between preservation and conservation? Preservation means that you have to completely leave the area to nature, and it must grow on its own as it happens in nature. So that's the concept of preservation of the area. And if you are trying to manage it from scientific point of view, then it is conservation of the area. So the concept is that you have a core area which is meant only for wild animals and birds and for development of the species, whereas there is lesser degree of protection in sanctuary. Now, coming to your question of the third one, the conservation reserve. Conservation reserve was introduced in 2003. This is again, along with conservation reserve, there was another area which was added, the community reserve. Now, the whole idea of having a conservation reserve was to use the government land, the property or government property, preferably between two protected areas, let's say two sanctuaries. If there is an area, so that area will normally form a corridor for the movement of animals. So if you give some protection, it's not very high degree of protection. Protection is in less than sanctuary, but then it provides some kind of corridor for the animals to move. Or if you recall the map of Gir sanctuary, if there is a small patch, say there's a patch of 100 square kilometers of grassland, and if that area can be converted into given the legal status of conservation reserve, then that area forms part of extended Gir and given protection for management purposes, right?
Yes, sir. So I have one question.
Yeah.
I want to ask, what efforts has Gujarat government taken in terms of promoting wildlife in Gujarat?
What efforts?
Has Gujarat government taken in terms of promoting wildlife there?
See, first is the and which applies to any state, including Gujarat. First is the willingness on the part of state government
Okay.
to notify areas as protected areas. That means creation of national parks and sanctuaries. That's the first inclination or the support of the government. The second is providing funding support for the management, providing manpower for management, and then from the policy and administration point of view, these are the things. And the other is trying to inform people about the importance of wildlife, because if in our nation, if as a government officer, if I am conveying a message to the people, it may not go down, message of conservation particularly, it may not go down well with the people. They may not feel convinced. There is an inherent tendency of distrust, which comes, the trust comes over a period of time with your continuous meeting with the people, and it takes time. But if a politician, if say there is an MP or there's a chief minister, there's a minister, because they come from the local population, they are the representative of the local population. If they are trying to support the cause of conservation, it makes a lot of difference. and then the media also helps you in both ways. I mean, I always prefer criticism by media, but then the criticism is not in the form of pulling you down as an individual. If it is meant for the betterment of wildlife, which is what has happened in case of Gir National Park and Velavada National Park, if the staff is doing something wrong, if they see that the staff is not performing their duty as they are supposed to, they will publish everything in the newspaper. So they keep the staff on toes all the time, which is a very good thing. But don't do it just for the heck of it. Don't make it a one-on-one issue. So that way I would appreciate the role of media also. Not that there are no problem, there are many problems. I have shown you the problem in case of Little Run of Kutch, which is being invaded by the salt manufacturers. So, but things are being taken care of, and we have the support. The best thing which I like in Gujarat is, and in Saurashtra in particular, that there is a lot of support from people's side, which is something very good for the management of national parks and sanctuaries.
Okay, there is one question in the chat box by Sanjay himself. Did tiger ever get inhabited in Gujarat region?
Say it again.
Did tiger ever was inhabited in Gujarat region?
Yes, yes, tiger was there. Tiger was. In fact, tiger was reported till 1983. There was one solitary tiger. See, the animals don't have any political boundary. They go by the habitat. So tiger was in the Dangs forest of Gujarat and in Ratan Mahal area, they say, which is bordering Madhya Pradesh and bordering Maharashtra. The tigers would move in and out, in and out in the sense that it was a tiger territory in itself. So it's only the political boundary which we created in 1960 by bifurcating Maharashtra and Gujarat, and then the forest was on the Maharashtra side. The forest was destroyed, so tiger population gradually disappeared. And towards Panchmal also tigers were known earlier. They were shot. There are trophies of tiger, but not many. Now they have not been sighted. No, it was in fact there. And let me also tell you, archaeologically, in the run of Kutch area, there were rhinos. So which inhabited the Gujarat area. Again, if you look into the geological background, starting some 10,000 years back, the forest of Indus Valley, the forest of Kutch, it has not changed much. It is only for this region probably, and this could be the explanation for migratory birds coming from Central Asia and from Europe to Gujarat region in such huge numbers.
Okay. So I think we'll take one last question. What are the endemic species found in Gujarat is what Jitu wanted to ask.
What are the endemic species? There are many species of animals and plants. In plants in particular, Commiphora whitey is one species I can tell you offhand. There is another one which is endemic to Kutch. I am forgetting the name. It is we are trying to restore that species. I'm just forgetting the name of that one. But Commiphora is a species which is endemic, and you can see this one in Kutch. It's a very hardy species, very small plant. But it was probably the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research was doing research on the use of this species for treating cancer. I don't know what happened after that, But that's how we came to know about this species, and the species was hacked in those days, and people were selling the branches. Asiatic lion, for that matter, is an endemic species to Gujarat area, because this is nowhere to be found. Gradually, I mean, now today, the endemicity also keeps on changing in that sense. And today is confined. I mean, it used to be found up till Delhi once upon a time. There are reports of some 300 lions shot in a small time frame of 6 months. So um, contextually, yes, and while as I showed you, that's also endemic species. This is the only population which is left here.
Okay.
Nowhere in the world you will find that.
Okay. So, sir, I think we're done with the questions overall,
Okay.
and this was an extremely a lot of us in Pune and Mumbai, for that matter, who are avid wildlife lovers, have not traveled to Gujarat to see the wildlife there. So, including us who've been visiting forests for last 8-9 years, but we've not really been to Gujarat, and we look forward, coming there, and they make people here aware more about the Gujarat and the different forests there per se. So I hope your presentation, which inspires a lot of people to come there and visit Gujarat per
Yeah,
se.
I hope so.
Yes, sir. So I would request Sanjay Deshpande. Sanjay, are you there? Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi, Dada. It was very
Right.
wonderful thing, and uh, most of the Pune people know Gujarat only for Phapda, Dhokla, and Gir lion. That's all. And obviously our Prime Minister.
You you will be surprised to
Wildlife of
know that, Sanjay, you will be surprised to note that most of the Gujaratis also who are staying in Gujarat, who have been born and brought up in Gujarat, and who are more than 50 years, they have rarely been to Gir, they have rarely been to Kutch. It is something shocking, people, and then when they just,
I know very well. So, Dada,
yeah,
I am from Nagpur, and I am the only
yeah,
one from my family who has been to Tadoba. So you can imagine. And
yeah,
my dad has never been to Tadoba. My uncles has been never
yeah,
been to Tadoba, and
yeah,
maybe it's like जहाँ जो उगता है वहाँ उसकी कीमत नहीं होती, that kind of thing. It is that.
exactly, exactly,
But
exactly.
specifically this was very wonderful. And Pune and Bombay region people have lost touch with wildlife actually. Not only because of the habitat destruction around Pune, Bombay city, and specifically the Western Maharashtra belt, but that's why they are finding out these getaways more and more interesting. And I will be definitely personally visiting. Uh, and thanks a lot for all these insights. And I'm sure too,
Yeah.
your experience doesn't restrict for 2 episodes. There will be a few more episodes with your expertise about the wildlife and all these things. Thanks a lot for Jungle Bell and everybody.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.